All right, I am pretty excited here because last week 2 boxes arrived that I have been patiently waiting to open on camera. I don't normally do unboxing videos, but like I said, I'm really excited about this. I'm sure at this point most of you have seen those videos floating around on the internet of that magical box that uses laser beams to clean rust and other surfaces like magic. And if you're like me, you probably looked in to see how much they cost, and well, if you were looking originally, they were up around 100 grand. Now price has come down slowly, but it's still pretty expensive. The last one I looked at was about $10,000. So a few months ago, when my buddy sent me a video from a Kickstarter campaign for a prosumer grade laser cutter welder cleaner, well, that caught my interest. And next thing I knew, I'm clicking pledge. Now, if you're not familiar with what Kickstarter is, it's basically a way for companies or small startups to crowdfund a product. The problem is you don't always get what you're expecting to get, and sometimes you get nothing at all and your money is just gone. So this was a pretty big risk, but the company seemed pretty legit, and the fact I've got 2 boxes here, well, my fingers are crossed that what I actually pledged for is what's in the box. So what I pledged towards was called the XLaserlab's X1 Pro, a prosumer grade laser welder cleaner, like I said, but instead of being the size of a small car, it's the size of your average MIG or TIG welder, kind of hobbyist size. I can pick it up with one hand. So I think I've talked about it enough. I'm excited. Let's get this box open. I really want to see what I've actually bought, because all I've seen are some photos. All right, we're gonna do this on the floor because it's still a little bit too big to do it up on the fab table. We got 2 boxes here. I got the main box and then another box behind the camera. Now, I'm thinking, let's take a look in the secondary box first, and then we'll get to the actual unit. So everything seems to be packaged pretty nicely. We do have this here though. Insurance seal in effect once the seal is damaged. Check package condition before signing. Refuse if any damage. Now here's the thing. UPS just left this thing on my doorstep. I was home. They didn't knock. They didn't ring the doorbell. They didn't have me sign for anything. So even if it was completely mangled up, I never even had an opportunity to refuse the package. Luckily, the damage on the box is pretty minor. So I'm thinking we're probably gonna be okay, but we'll start with this one here because there's no damage on this box and I wanna know what's inside. So let's get this thing opened. I'm always worried doing this part because I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely cut through things inside the box before. So try to be very careful, not go too deep in there, because yeah, we got stuff right on the top. All right, so in here we should have some focusing lenses, protective lens, and a culminating lens. And oh, a whole bunch of other stuff too. Wire feeder, wire feed tube, signal cable. Let's just get it all out and then we can match it up with this, make sure it's all there. Well, this is cool. This wasn't even supposed to be included as far as I know, but I'll have to go and double check that. So we've got a respirator. This looks like the gas hookup tube. So this unit actually runs with nitrogen instead of argon or mix like your MIG or TIG welder does. So I'm gonna have to get a nitrogen bottle at some point here, but we're not even gonna really try this thing today, I don't think. I just wanna get it out of the box and make sure it's all here. And then I'll make another video and we'll actually give it a shot. So take a look at this. We got some nice welding gloves. We got Kickstarter, X Photonics, XLaserlab on there. Those are quite nice. Looks like a welding apron. These must be the extra lenses. I wanted to make sure I got extra lenses with this because they're kind of a consumable item and I didn't have to wait for shipping if I mess up the lens, because I know inevitably I'm going to mess up some lenses. This is probably going to be a a little bit of trial and error with this thing before I figure out exactly how it works. What are these? Supplier name, N-E-M-E. Material name, material code, code. I have no idea what's in this, so I have to open those up after and see. Oh wait, maybe these are more lenses? It's round. I'm assuming that this is more lenses. I'll have to check it against the part numbers. What else have we got in this box? We got lots of neat stuff in here, actually. Oh, this is kind of cool. What is this? There's some extra stuff in here that wasn't actually on the list. Check this out. A little like dog tag type thing here. Let's see if that goes into focus. Yeah, there you go. So it says Laser Origin. I'm backer number 1571. Project amount. So they raised $4.7 million on this Kickstarter. That's pretty crazy. And then it's got the project date. 03/28/2025. That was the date of completion. So that's kind of cool. That's sort of neat. And what is this thing? I don't know. Is that supposed to connect together? I'm not quite sure how this is supposed to work. I feel like it's supposed to be like that or something maybe. I'll have to figure that one out. But it's this nice little laser etch thing. Kind of says the same thing as the dog tag there. But that's kind of cool. I'll find somewhere to put that. Maybe mount it on my toolbox or something. Still not exactly sure what this is for. Anyone got some ideas? Doesn't seem to really connect together or anything. I don't know. I'll figure that one out. What else have we got? Oh, this was supposed to come with it. This was something that I could have made this myself, but they're supplying one. Why not? So that looks like the gun holder. Probably just drop right in there. Foam. What's this? Oh, let's get this out of here. Check this out. Laser welding shield. That's the whole mask. Look at this out of the box after, but this thing looks pretty cool. So the thing with the laser is it's a different light wavelength than MIG or TIG. So you actually need a different shield for it. It's not as dark, I believe, but we'll find out once I get it out of the box. What else have we got in here? Ooh. I do believe this is going to be our wire feed unit. Let's see, I think that's the last thing in here. Yeah, that's the last thing in here. So I'm going to flip the box down, kind of use this as a bit of a table. And let's get this thing out of here. So the welder uses a spool of wire, kind of like a MIG, but it's a little bit thicker in OD. And it also doesn't actually store the wire in the unit itself. It's got this kind of separate wire feed unit, which is going to sit beside the actual main welder. This is actually quite nicely made, I'm not going to lie. So we've got our retract button, our feed button, and a power light here. Looks like the gun's probably going to mount in there, is my guess. And then we've got all of our cabling and control cables and everything here. Ooh, that's a pretty beefy motor in there too. 3.5 amp. Cool. All right, let's put this aside though, and let's open up that helmet. So I'm kind of curious about this. I have to figure out some storage for these helmets because I seem to be collecting helmets. So obviously I got to remove that. I don't know, we got a bunch of numbers on here. It says DIN 4. That doesn't mean a lot to me. I'm not a welder. If anyone can tell me what DIN 4 is, leave it in the comments down there. But it's not auto darkening or anything, but if you can see through there, it's also really not that dark. Let me see if I can get this shield out of this halo out of the way here. See, it's really not that dark at all. And that's what I mean by the laser equipment needs a different type of protection than your average welding helmet. So that's why I wanted to get this with it, because I figured I'd rather get something that's laser rated, and this one is supposed to be laser rated. So cool. Now, let's get all this out of the way because we got one more box to open. So I was just looking through the pack slip here. It says gift phone stand. So I'm assuming that this thing here is a phone stand. I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to work. I think it might be some assembly required. But I'll have to figure that one out. But mask, gloves, necklace, and phone stand are listed as gifts. So that is pretty cool. Okay, let's get this one open. The exciting one. So again, same deal there. We got that insurance seal on it. I got a little bit of damage on the box at the bottom here, but it's not too major. So like I said, I think we're probably safe to open it up. This is packaged quite nicely, to be completely honest. They did not skimp out on the packaging, that's for sure. And that is nice because I have gotten some stuff in from China that I don't know how it made it here in one piece. It's literally just in a little tiny foam carton, like a takeout box almost. This, we've got nice plastic edges on there. It's got nice plastic handles, and this is some pretty thick cardboard as well. So it definitely took the time to package this up properly, which I really do appreciate. Making sure that at least minimizing chance of damage in shipping this way. Oh, I'm excited. All right, oh yeah, look at that. I thought that was just a little piece of thin cardboard on the top. This is a good 3-4 centimeters thick at least. That is nice. I do really appreciate that. All right, what do we got here? So we have the manufacturing inspection report. So all of our tests are here. That is very nice to see that that's all been supplied. What else is in here? A key, it looks like. I'm just gonna open this package up because something's rattling. There you go, it says it's past QC. And we've got tiny little keys. We'll put that aside for now. Because the fun stuff is still inside. I bet you this whole thing just comes out. There we go. So this is really, really nicely packaged. Look at this. Everything is all die cut out. We've got our cabling all here. I'm not going to pull all of this out because it's all kind of neatly tucked away right now, but oh, check that out. That is the test welds that they did. They actually give it to you. See if I can get this to focus for you. No, don't want it. There we go. So that must be the test welds that they did with this unit, and they supply it with it. That is really cool. Those are so clean. Oh man, this is so exciting. So exciting. We've got our e-stop here. Now I'm just curious. Okay, it is not a CSA e-stop, so I am probably going to switch out this button for a CSA one. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with this one, but I'd like to see CSA on it. And here, we've got some goggles. And this is the thing, like watching the videos, it looks like all you actually technically need are goggles for these things. So we got, again, DIN 4, and we've got a whole bunch of laser ratings across here. I don't know what all of them mean, but we do have a whole bunch of different ratings on these glasses here. See if I can get this to focus again. Maybe, kinda, sorta. There we go. So we got a bunch of ratings on these lenses, which is nice to see. And they're pretty comfortable and stylish too. Cool. All right, let's put these things away for the time being. So that's nice having both the glasses and the shield, because that way if I do have a second person out in the shop while I'm using this machine, I can make sure that they've got proper eye protection on too, because stray lasers are a thing, and this unit is 700 watts, so that's powerful enough to do some serious damage to one's eyesight really quickly. Oops, that's supposed to go inside, wasn't it? No, I'll put it back in after. What else have we got here? We've got more lenses. Excellent. And this, I believe, should be consumables. Oh, we got 2 boxes of consumables. Nice. So these are all of our cutting tips and everything right in here. So we got 2 boxes of these. And again, really, really nicely packaged. I'm very impressed with that. It's a very professional looking. And then in here, I believe it's going to be our main power cable. Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to figure that out. So we've got a 20 amp 120 volt plug. I'm gonna have to get a new socket put in. I've got 20 amp breakers, I've got 20 amp wiring, but the plugs are 15, so I'm gonna have to change that. But I guess that makes sense that this is gonna be a 20 amp. So for those of you that are still waiting on your machines, that is the plug that you're going to need. I probably should have guessed that this was going to be a 20 amp. So we've got that one prong that actually faces the other direction. That's not a big deal. That's an easy upgrade to do if you've already got the wiring. If you don't have the wiring though, that means you are going to have to upgrade the breaker, and you're going to have to upgrade the wiring that's in your wall, because you can't just go and put a 20 amp receptacle on 15 amp wiring. That's a recipe for disaster. So let's get this out of the way and see what else we got. All right, so we got another layer here, and this appears to be the actual torch. Oh, it goes around the unit, wow. What are we caught on underneath here? Well, obviously the machine, but... Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. Can I lift this whole... No, I can't. Okay, well, the torch is coiled around the top here, but then it's still connected to the machine. That's what's going on. That's why I can't lift the top right out. So let's just take a look at the torch. Well, we have access to it. Man, this thing is nice. G-fast, no tear. I don't know what that means. But we've got our trigger, and then we've got another little button here, and I believe that is for selecting the mode. Man, this is really, really solid feeling. Like, seriously solid feeling. The whole whip is nicely wrapped here, but like, this is all, looks like CNC'd aluminum. I mean, that That feels really nice. And it's actually a lot smaller than I was expecting. When I was looking at the videos, I thought this gun was gonna be pretty big, but in all honesty, here, let me grab. There we go. This is a MIG gun off of my little Lincoln MIG. There's a comparison for size. It is really not that much bigger than your average MIG gun. I thought it was going to be kind of huge, but if anything, it's actually a little bit shorter, at least on the handle. And on the tip, it's just a wee bit longer, but not that much. Yeah, it's a lot more compact than I was expecting. And it's actually really quite light. And this is nice too. I mean, this whip compared to this whip here, even though this looks a little bit thicker, it's actually substantially more pliable. I don't know if that's going to change once I put the wire feed on it, because I believe the wire feed is going to go in separate, so we're going to have the feed cable coming up here. So we'll see how that is once it's all assembled. But I mean, as it is, just like this, it's really light and nicely balanced and really easy to move. So I'm gonna get this thing out, and then we'll try and get the whole unit out. Oh, this looks seriously nice. I am quite impressed. I think I've already said that. I've already said that a few times, but I should tell you, I am genuinely impressed. This does not look like something that has just been slapped together, rushed. It really looks like they took their time to work out a lot of the kinks in this. It looks quite well thought through. So there is the unit. Not a whole lot going on the front because we've got a full touch screen on here. We've got the e-stop again there, and that would be what the key is for. So you can actually lock this out, which I'm not gonna lie, I really do like, because I do have a toddler that he spends a lot of time out here in the shop with me, and well, I trust him with my tools. I mean, he knows not to touch things, he knows to ask, and he knows to avoid any switches. But I still feel more comfortable and safer knowing that I can lock it out, just in case there's that temptation when he gets a little bit older to play with daddy's laser ray gun. So, size-wise though, I mean, this thing is genuinely quite small. I'm gonna go grab my Lincoln MIG over there just to give you a nice size comparison between the two. All right, this thing is not the lightest tool on the planet. Let's see how this box holds up. All right, so obviously this is one of Lincoln's smaller MIGs. It's just a little MIG pack, but this should give you an idea. If I line them up, we're only about that much longer maybe. So, I mean, size-wise, it is almost identical. My little e-stop over here is actually substantially bigger than this thing, and it's light too. Like, this does not weigh much at all. But build quality-wise, I mean, if I compare this to this, this is all metal, all the way around, all CNC cut metal. It's all screwed together. This is kind of cheapy tin, so even the handle is metal on this thing. This is really nice. The e-stop's metal too, like everything. Let's take a look at the back. I'm gonna get this welder out of here now. You've got an idea. So we got this thing completely plastered in different stickers and stuff. Tons of warnings everywhere. Must wear protective gloves. Danger and invisible laser radiation. Avoid eye or skin exposure. Direct or scattered radiation, which again, that's why it's really important to have those extra set of goggles, I think, just to play it safe. You don't want to go blinding your friends, right? What else have we got? Radiation when opened, okay. Class 4 laser radiation when open, interlocks defeated. Okay, so they obviously don't want us to go opening it up. And this is actually one of the really cool things here. I don't know if you can see this. Air-cooled handheld laser welding machine. That is what sets this thing apart from all of the other units that I've seen, and including some of the other ones I was looking at, maybe possibly purchasing if the price went down. they're huge because they're water cooled. And I mean, I'm in a little tiny garage here, like probably a lot of you guys are that are watching this as well. So size matters, and having a big water-cooled machine, well, that's a problem. This thing is air-cooled, which is probably why the whip is so nice and small and the gun is so small. And as far as I know, I don't think any of the other units out there yet are air-cooled. So that's how they were able to really shrink this thing down in such a little tiny compact unit. So I'm really excited to actually give this thing a go. So in my excitement looking over my new toy here, I kind of did the whole ADHD thing and ended up off somewhere in La La Land, not saying anything really coherent to the camera from that point on. So we're gonna pick up here. Now obviously I can't do any welding or anything with the machine today to show you because of that plug outlet on the end, but I did notice something while I was looking over the stickers on the machine. 105 to 240 volt input, which kind of caught my interest. So I actually contacted the manufacturer and they told me all I need to do is switch the plug on the cable over to a 240 plug and I can just plug it in. The unit will self-adjust for the voltage. So that is great news. That means I don't need to worry about doing any new wiring in the garage or anything. I can just plug this thing straight into my welder outlet and I'm good to go. So hopefully that's good news for some of you out there as well if you've already got 240 wired into your shop. Now, there are some things I do want to do in the future, including handing this thing over to a friend of mine who is a very specialized welder, and I want to see how he stacks up against me, the hobbyist, and against my wife, the absolute beginner, with the laser, the MIG, and the TIG welder. Because these things are advertised as some of the easiest welders to use, and they say that basically a beginner can pick it up and lay a really nice bead down with next to no practice. So I think we should put that to the test. As well, I want to try and hook this thing up to my little CNC machine over here and see if maybe we can do a little bit of laser cutting. So if that's something that you'd like to see, make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you next time.